How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Thursday's weekly Aksys stream. My name is Sammy. Appreciate you joining me again for some more Last Era. It's got released last week, and we played it for launch day, but I thought I wanted to... Well, it's the first week of the month, so first week of the month is always reserved for Atome if I can help it, and so here we are. We're going to do it again. We're moving on to Fugue, which is what we're going on right now. Fugue is a retelling of Var Common's events through the eyes of the love interest, and currently we're doing Kakerus, partly because Kakeru is one of my favorite stories, and his story is quite fundamental to the overall sort of world at hand. He is a big part of what is happening, and I particularly liked his character and his story. And it was really fun. If you guys didn't hear me talk about his Fugue route last stream as we were going along, I was exclaiming quite a bit how impressed I was to watch essentially what is the same events happen. It's condensed. It's not, you're not playing the entirety of the route again, but to see the perspective of the events happen from the love interest's eyes rather than the protagonist's eyes. And it's especially good in this game because we've talked about it before as well. The idea of perspective and what characters see is very valuable in this game, and they definitely play upon it as you go from route to route. But Kakerus was especially interesting, at least so far, and because he is naturally not he holds his cards close to his chest pretty consistently, and that's a key component of the route with Kakeru. And so seeing that unravel but backwards is kind of cool. When you see it from Kakeru's side, Kakeru's like just so pure that she really can't see what Kakeru's doing. But obviously, as somebody who's watching and reading as you go along, you can kind of get the little bits and pieces and understand Kakeru's storyline as it goes through that route. But seeing it from his perspective has been so interesting. It's like he's almost constantly confused and like unsure about himself and what he's doing, which is, you definitely don't get that when you're playing through on the other side. When you're playing through from Kakeru's perspective, you don't get that he's like so unsure and kind of almost judging himself like very harshly because he's trying to be his normal sort of evasive, cocky, and a little bit like silver-tongued self to Kakeru, where just like everything is just going over her head. And when you look at it from his perspective, it's genuinely adding to the Var Common story despite playing Last Era right now. I think that's super cool, and it is especially exciting for the rest of the stuff, like playing all the other characters. Think about what that means from Ron's perspective. I would be equally excited to see a very deep, complicated character just unravel from underneath. And I would also appreciate if 30% of the lines were him just sleeping. Either way, I think they would both fit. It's very funny because a lot of the times I feel like you get like a quite an interesting mixed bag for fan discs. In terms, like, it adds to the story and it adds to right, but like this one really feels like it is so attached to its previous game, right? Like a majority of it is attached to Var Commons in a massive way. This one, like, I don't know how to put it perfectly, but this one genuinely feels like it is a story so attached to the previous that calling it a fan disc is technically correct, but it's just, it adds so much to the original game. Oh, hey, I ask myself that every single day. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I forgot about this. Fade to black. Oh, so little said, so good. And it's pretty cool when you see and hear his feelings from when she's like really down and sad, and his feelings on it then, and then his feelings afterwards. It's not, again, it's like not necessarily new, but like I think it puts it a little bit in, it puts it in perspective a little bit better, if that makes any sense. Like just the idea of it being, or it being back to back, it like makes sense that he was sad and sort of felt really bad that Kakeru wasn't feeling well, and the sort of the metaphoric analogy to his powers, and then it turning around to what this was afterwards, right? Oh no! I forgot. Beaten out by a strawberry plant, huh? It's something about it being like a tiny little plant in like a pot, you know? Itsuki's getting carried off by plants, and he's like, ha ha ha, he lost to a plant. Man, I wish I was that strawberry plant. Oh man, I don't know if I ever talked about this, but Nanami's dichotomy, I think I maybe talked about this when I was going over the game in totality, but like Nanami's dichotomy of being in route and out of route are so diametrically opposed to one another. I think it's freaking hilarious. Like within route, she is depressed and anxious about herself and worried about, you know, her past being revealed and her power being revealed, and she's constantly on edge. Out of route, she's like, food, yum, eat. In comparison to like VAR Commons, you always kind of got the idea that he didn't like himself very much. He was sort of recognizing in comparison to Kakeru how he was not a good person, right? That's like the whole point of his metaphor with the poisonous roots and telling her about that. But like he kind of really berates himself at like all points. And it's a lot more severe than even the game originally puts. Obviously, because you're in his mind now. It's like, yeah, like seeing this, the struggle of like him being like, I am so tired of being shielded, but I also am so scared of like putting it down. When you're playing through VAR Commons, I think you get a better idea of him. Sort of, it feels like maybe he's working towards dropping the shield or you know, dropping the armor and working at it as he's going along. And I think maybe even recognizing more and more as he's going along that it's like not that worth it for him to have it on. But it doesn't come off as a struggle like it does in this game. And right now, like when you're playing through it, it's in VAR Commons, it's like a realization over time. Now it's more like he's constantly going back and forth and constantly just like struggling on whether what he wants to be and what kind of person he is and what to show, and it's like it's a lot. Oh god, Senri and Kakeru's interactions are some of the best in the game, I think, because they're kind of like I think the original thought about their relationship is like Kakeru's kind of way too pushy to Senri, but then you kind of realize that Senri is also kind of a little and he kind of deserves it sometimes. It's, you know, it goes both ways, and I think it's funny. Yeah, this whole bit's like, you know, you get this bit in the other version, in VAR Commons, but like seeing it after him like constantly feeling like crap about like who he is a little bit different. It's because in VAR Commons it feels more of like a final breakdown, but like it's more like it just like falls off at some point. But now that you get like the whole progression of him from losing his earring to this point, it's more like the unsureness, like being unsure of who he is and what he's doing and stuff like that is just like spiraling out of disaster, like into disaster for him. It's almost like he's just left with just this of himself, like all of the memories of him kind of being what he didn't like. He's just like, if all that's left is me just being what he thinks to be, a shitty person, then like this is it. Like I have nothing. Thank you for joining me. I very much appreciate it. I'm gonna do my best to put at least one more stream together of this. I'm almost gonna force it because I'm just having a blast with it. And that'll be it for me. Thank you for joining me. Go play some video games, maybe this one, but just enjoy yourselves. Get to the weekend, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.